How's it going, FB? So, today, I wanted to talk about the differences between being mad, angry, and being disappointed. So this is a perspective that's coming from me. So I'm going to put a disclaimer out real quick, and I don't want to, go and make it too long and lengthy. I am putting out this disclaimer that this is my opinion. This is my personal opinion. It has nothing to do with my place of employment. It has nothing to do specifically for different groups or organizations. Here are things that I see and my perception of them and how I feel about it. And I'm expressing my feelings. I am trying to vent and clear some mental space and get some things off my chest. And that's all this is. Okay? Please do not take offense to the things that I'm going to say and the subject matter that I'm going to cover. I'm not going to target out people by name during this venting, with the exception of the things that I hold dear that I actually like. So if there's something that I'm talking about that I'm disappointed in, I will not be naming people. If I talk about names of people, these are people that I like, that I admire, that I respect, and that's where we are. So, is there a difference between being mad, angry, and being disappointed? Absolutely, positively, yes, there is. And here's why. So when you're mad, angry, it's an emotion, right? It's emotion. You're feeling angst. You feel hate, resentment. You feel sick in your stomach. You have a pain in your heart. It makes you want to cry. It makes you want to hit something, strike something. It's uncontrollable rage for some people, and it gets people into trouble. Okay? That's what that is. It's an emotion, it's an emotional response. Disappointment is that it could be twofold. It's not only being disappointed in someone else or something or something that happened, it's also being disappointed in yourself. So I'm going to talk a lot about being disappointed in myself, because those are the kind of things that you can try to see if you can fix, or at least you have to figure out how to fix those. And there's a couple ways to do that. So you have to start small when you start these conversations, this virtual rant, lack of a better word, or virtual cleansing that I'm about to lay out here to you, FB. But here we go. So starting low or something small, the biggest thing that affects us, that puts people in that category, are you mad, angry, or you're disappointed, is relationships. Relationships. All kinds of relationships. Work relationships and personal relationships that you have, and intimate relationships. Everything is on the table. So when I tell someone that I'm disappointed in them, or I'm disappointed in the choice that they made, or I'm disappointed in what they said to me, I'm not mad angry at what they said to me, or I'm not mad angry at what they did or didn't do, or their attitude. I'm truly disappointed, because I don't hate anybody. Anybody. I used to a long time ago. And I believe in 1996. Yeah, 1996. I have to go back a ways. That's when things changed for me. Pretty much. Coming to the altar and coming to Christ can help change you. But I'm still a work in progress, because I am not perfect. I am flawed human being. I have so many different flaws. I am constantly repenting for every simple thing I've done, simple thoughts, things that come into my head, and I go like, nope, take them away, Lord, take them away, because they don't belong there. And I know that. And we are all that. We are always trying to fix things that were said and fix things that were done. Right now, I'm just cleansing my soul right now on some things that are bothering me. So here we go. Relationships. So when I tell people, and I do this at my job, I do this when I run into people on the street, they look at the back of my truck, they don't like the bumper sticker that's on it, or they have some disagreement of what shirt I'm wearing, or anything else, and they decide to have a conversation with me, I let them talk, and then hopefully they come up for air so they can let me speak. Okay, because it's only fair that a conversation is one person says something, the other person listens, the other person says something, they listen, and it's a conversation. You're not yelling, you're not throwing stuff, you're not trying to be violent about it. You're just trying to have a conversation. A conversation with an adult, supposedly, right? Then I will say, I'm disappointed that you feel that way. And then sometimes when I run into people, either at my job or out in the world, or even in a relationship, I'm sorry you're disappointed that way. Then obviously you don't know who I am, and you don't know what I'm about. You don't know what I've done in my life, and if you knew all these things, I think your opinion of me would be different. But you're entitled to have it, and God bless you. So that's where we run into this, and we're talking relationships. Remember, work relationships, outside relationships, people that walk up, see my truck, or see me voting, or whatever it is, or they have some kind of comment to me, and I say something back to them, and they don't like who I voted for, or they don't like which party I belong to, they don't like the fact that I'm a Christian, whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't hate you, and I don't dislike you. You are entitled to have the feelings that you have, just like I'm entitled to have mine. I'm disappointed that you feel that way about me, but I still don't hate you. And I'm not mad angry at you. And this, the relationship part, this is for everybody. This is boyfriend, girlfriend. This is for partners out there. This is for fiance, fiancés. This is for husband and wife. You have those conversations that one person says that you're fighting them, or you're verbally assaulting them, or arguing with them, and you're trying to get your point across. They cut you off, and they tell you that you're wrong. They tell you that you don't feel that way. And that's one of the things I dislike so much in the world, when someone tells me that's not how you feel. You're not inside me. You're not up here. You don't know what I'm thinking. You don't know what's in my heart. If I listen to you, you need to listen to me. And if you don't want to listen to me, then it's no longer a conversation. It's not. That's how dictators are born. They just, you do whatever. And we'll get into the dictator stuff here in a minute. That's coming down the road of the things that disappoint me. So find that careful balance. Find that compromise. I heard that today. I was listening to the pastor's sermon, and you got to have compromise within the church. You got to have compromise in your life. You got to have compromise in everything that you do in life. You can't go around and be, it's my way or the highway. And if that's the kind of person that you are, and that's the kind of mindset you have, you're not going to be with anybody long, or you're going to alienate people who would come to you that aren't family. They're not going to want to be around you. Try to find a compromise and recognize there is a difference. There is a difference between mad angry and being disappointed. Next part. The stuff that's going on over in Ukraine and Russia, we've seen this coming years. All of us have served in the military. I served on board a wonderful aircraft carrier in a battle group that I was in. And I did post something earlier responding to how Russians were always trying to look at us, copy our weapon systems, technology, whatever it is you want to do. The Russians were always trying to be one step ahead of us. And that never changed, because every time that we would go on operations in the North Atlantic and we come out of the shipyards and we have new stuff put on the ship, there'd be this Russian Krivac that would come over and try to get close to take pictures of us. And I remember the NATO forces, there was a, I think it was a Canadian. Was it a Canadian? Yeah, I think we had a Canadian frigate come over and go in between us and the Russian Krivac and sort of like, shift the rudder and make them move away from us. And then the Russian ship would back up and come around the other side, and then the Canadian would back up and come around on this side, and then go in between and push them off. Then we would have aircraft that would fly over, Russian aircraft, whether it was a Russian Bear, which happened a lot down in Cuba, or it was, say, maybe a couple of Russian surveillance, mostly do surveillance off the Bears, but maybe a MiG or something like that would fly by or something, and we launched the F-14s, and they would go up and they fly up there because they're real close to us, and they go up and they do the whole wing dip thing, like, here's my missiles, and then they go over, and then they start going that way towards the Russian aircraft to get them to veer off away from the carrier battle group. Ronald Reagan, who was my commander-in-chief when I served, who was the president of the United States, had his stuff together. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the later years in the White House and all that stuff, but during the time that I served, Ronnie knew what he was doing. All right, and with the exception of a few things that happened near the end, and this is because we move assets around, with the exception of what happened in Beirut, Lebanon, we pretty much were on point with protecting this country and protecting our troops when they deployed. So, fast track. There was this wonderful president who didn't have a long term, who saw a threat down in Cuba, and I'm not going to tell you the year, you look it up, it's called the Bay of Pigs, where Russians were trying to mass a bunch of stuff close to the United States, and this president, who happens to be from the other side of the aisle, had his stuff together. His name was John F. Kennedy Jr. John F. Kennedy, JFK. John F. Kennedy. I have the deepest respect for him, despite all the other stuff that people want to talk about, the affairs and all the other kind of nonsense, whatever it is. When it came to being a president of the United States and being a commander-in-chief, he knew what he was doing. So far, the rest of them don't seem to have their act together. Also grew up during the 70s when we had the gas crisis. And we're going to head in that direction soon. Right now we have a gas crisis as far as gas at the pump. It's like, I think the other day I was trying to fill up between two places I used to go to. I get one is $3 something a gallon. It's like the cheapest place. Now that thing is like almost $4 a gallon. There's another place that was 10 cents cheaper, so I went there. But now it's over $4 a gallon. And this is regular. So for you guys that premium, that's fine. But the solution currently to the people who happen to be in charge right now is go out and buy an electric vehicle. So I live in a condo complex where there's no electric charging stations anywhere, and you just can't plug this into a regular outlet. You have to have something attached to that and hanging out your window when it's still below freezing and charge your car or truck or whatever it is that you got. This is fully electric. And they're very expensive, and no, there's not enough people in this country that are going to go out and buy electric vehicles. I'm sorry. Cutting off the Keystone Pipeline, stopping drilling and fracking. We were at one point energy exporters. We were actually putting oil on the market and natural gas on the market, and now we are importing stuff, especially from all sorts of places like Russia. Russia. Of course, they're going to cut it off. So what does that do? What do you think it's going to do to the price of fuel? So the energy crisis back in the 70s was under a certain president, and I'm not going to mention his name, but he was from the other side of the aisle. So get where I'm going with this. I was not mad at him. When I was a kid back then, I was disappointed. A friend of mine had a go-kart. It used to cost 10 cents a gallon to put gas in it, and it went up to 25, 30 cents, and 45 cents. We're all freaking out. I'm just telling you like it is, okay? That's what I remember as a kid back in the 70s when we had the gas crisis, okay? So you're all going out now and you're paying $4, almost $6 a gallon to fill up your tank of your vehicle. So remember, elections have consequences. So we go on a little bit more. So I remember 1993. 1993, I was on a wonderful, powerful amphibious warship. And we had Special Boat Unit 20. We had SEALs on board. We had part of the Marine Ready Group. Part of this is the Marine Expeditionary Unit. We had those units on there, and we were going to Bulgaria, went to Romania. We were in the Black Sea at the time. And there was this program that was put in place by a previous president from the right side of the aisle to help feed Somalians. And the other person who came in the office from the other side of the aisle decided to continue the program, but decided to take out a warlord that happened to be in Mogadishu. And the next thing you know, our port call got canceled, and we're going Port Suez, Suez Canal, Indian Ocean, sitting off the coast of Somalia, getting shot at, and not being able to fire back. Yes. Millions of dollars to get us over there. We did nothing. We moved our anchors because they were shooting at us. And Americans died. President was from the other side of the aisle. See where I'm going with this? Now, here we are. Remember Crimea. Crimea was it's not the first time the Russians have tried to take Crimea. They tried to do it in the late 1800s. You can Google and look that up. They were successful in 2014 to take it. Guess who the President of the United States was in 2014? No, it was not Donald Trump. No, it was not a Republican. You figure it out. Do you see a pattern here? So last year, the Russians were mobilizing their forces, and the rhetoric was going up about the Ukraine and how Vladimir Putin wasn't happy with things over there. And he was starting to mass his troops and get his troops ready to go, get his pieces of military hardware positioned. There was movement going around. Now, you all say you didn't know about this. Well, the people that serve in the military know about it. The ones higher up, the ones closest to the CIA know about it. The problem is that you have people who are part of the administration from that side of the aisle that got a bloody nose over our lack of proper evacuation and pulling out of Afghanistan. We still left Americans behind, even though people don't want to talk about the Americans that are left behind. They actually think there's nothing going on. That's just yesterday's news, yada, yada. Doesn't matter how many Americans died or how many Americans are left behind, but there are Americans left behind. They didn't get them all out. But you don't hear about it if you watch the local news. So now they sort of feel like they didn't have to do nothing back then when they saw this. We could have repositioned and put our assets in theater. Now, let me explain in theater to people who don't know what that means. Now, I'm going to flip back to a time when I was in the military and I'm walking in the church for something, and I had on my cruise jacket, and it had, the patch of the aircraft carrier that was on, and it had "Power for Peace." And the person's, what's this "Power for Peace" patch? This has nothing to do with what's going on. Nuclear weapons are going to destroy us all, because that was the thought back then in the 80s. And I was like, first of all, big stick. What's a big stick? I says the person with the biggest stick that comes to a conflict is going to win. The goal is not to use the big stick. It's just to have to say, here's my big stick to your little stick. And the person goes, I'm not going to do anything because that big stick is big. So when you bring assets to bear, when you put them and preposition them where they need to be at, okay, the other person thinks whether or not they want to engage or be involved. And the problem is that the person in charge from the other side of the aisle didn't move assets last year when they should have. The Russians have been a threat for as long as I want to say as long as I've been alive. And my acknowledgement of them being a threat, it goes all the way back to 1980 when I went into the Navy. And unfortunately, people have not been paying attention to them. Now all of a sudden they are, but it's a little too late. And you still have people in Congress from that other side of the aisle that want to debate this thing about how much more aid to give Ukraine, and they don't want to do the no-fly zone. No-fly zone, you don't put one in place, they're not going to last. They're not going to make it. And a lot of people are going to die. And blood's going to be on somebody's hands. And you have to figure out whose hands they're on. So, am I angry, mad? No. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in the fact that this is happening, and this could have been either avoided or marginalized. I'm disappointed in the fact that we were importing and taking in Russian oil. I'm disappointed in the fact that they want to let the Russians negotiate a treaty with Iran over nuclear power and nuclear weapons, because that's what it is pretty much. I'm disappointed in the fact that people don't see this as a threat to the United States, the continental United States, the place where you live, where you have all these freedoms. You don't see this happening. Pearl Harbor was a wake-up call. 9/11 was a wake-up call. FB, America, when you're going to wake up? I'm just saying, don't be mad, angry. Be disappointed. And disappointed in the people that are running this country. Find compromise in the fact that we the people mean something, and that when you go to vote, start thinking about who you're voting for. It has nothing to do with what ethnicity they are or what their gender is or anything else. It should never be about that. It should be about what are they for? Are they for you? Or are they for themselves? Are they for protecting the country that you so-called love and the freedoms that you have that are being taken away from you every single day? Some of them are coming back now, mask mandates, have to get vaccinated. I can just go down the list of all the things that I disagree with stuff, and I'm fully vaccinated. But I talked to my doctors, and that was the only route I was going to go, because I have a lot of health stuff going on with me. But I was never mad at anybody, just disappointed in them. And disappointed in myself, because there are things that I can do to make this place better. I'm not sure about the world, but I could try to make parts of the world or my neighborhood, or try to be more involved with my church. It's hard with all the stuff that's going on. I don't want to get into the weeds about hours I work and amount of stuff that I have to do. Also in my health-wise, all the things that are going on with me, those are excuses. I need to get out of that. I need to be part of wanting to change what I can change. Put my faith in my Lord. Put my trust in my Lord. And don't put my trust and faith in people or things. Moving forward and not looking back. I do not hate anybody, FB. I do not get mad and angry anymore. I get disappointed. And I get disappointed sometimes in what people say and what people do and what people promise and fail to do. But I also get disappointed in me because I put those expectations on those people to do the right thing, to say the right words, to mean what they say, as my father used to say, my word is my bond. That's what my dad used to say all the time to me, my word is my bond. His word is like a handshake. Be nice if we can go back to that, right? But you got to put your trust and faith in the Lord. Because there's only one King of Kings. There's only one Lord of Lords. When it's all said and done, this world is only temporary for us. I want to go there at the end. And I'm going to do what I can to try and help as many people along the way. And I feel better now. I feel cleansed to get this off of me. And last but not least, I don't hate anybody. I am not mad, angry. I'm just disappointed in the way things are. And I hope and I pray that they change. God bless you all, Facebook, and thank you for letting me rant. Peace be with you. Have a great day.